Economics without money. Despite the preeminence of money in economic thought, most transactions are still carried out through barter. Think how much time you spend at home versus how much time you spend in stores. On most jobs, the only money transaction is once or twice a month when you get paid. The rest is barter. Some jobs require dealing with expense accounts and the like, but even including that, most transactions are barter. Trust in a network is proportional to the bandwidth of connections in the network. If you can see facial expressions and body posture and hear tones of voice, you have a much better idea of what people are thinking, and you're more willing to trust, and rightfully so. Now that the bandwidth of connections of people all over the world is being increased, the people of the world have less need for accountants and lawyers to maintain balance and trust. The people of the world now have more reason to respect the people in another country than they have reason to respect their own government. Rational people will not respect any system of governance that relies on violence and deceit. Families don't have to have accountants and lawyers to maintain balance and equity between family members. That's because they can rely on constantly maintained broad bandwidth connections between family members. When the baby cries, everyone in the family suffers. Balance is maintained. The price of information of all kinds has radically declined. The Wall Street Journal tells us that Fox wants to reduce commercial time to 2 minutes per hour by 2020. The Fox people make their money from commercials. Why would they want to take such a radical reduction in ad time? Maybe they need to reduce their ad time to get competitive with organizations and individuals that stream data to consumers at greatly reduced cost. If Fox doesn't reduce their ad time, there might soon be no one at all watching Fox. Honestly reported market prices are valuable information, but the price of price information is falling along with the price of all other kinds of information. Possibly this process could eliminate money as we know it today. We could move into a system of computer-assisted barter. Mathematically speaking, as long as we're getting our price information from a database, it's just as easy to use pork bellies as a value reference as it is to use the US dollar or the Mexican peso. Assuming a sufficient number of trades from which to extract price ratios, there is no reason why any item in the database can't be quoted in reference to any other item in the database. Computing reports in that way is not a major programming challenge. It just requires some cultural adjustment. We can get a price ratio between any items in the database. The dollar, the peso, and pork bellies are all just items in the database. Using this approach, a truly level economic playing field can be created for both individuals and groups. Can dollars and pesos compete successfully with pork bellies? I expect to see a number of different approaches to writing code to implement ideas similar to this. Market forces will choose the best. Possibly, we can remove the state's ability to arbitrarily control prices, including prices of people, otherwise known as salaries, dividends, bonuses, etc. As a user of a database of prices, your primary concern is the price ratio between what you have and what you hope to trade it for. This point of view makes it possible to have modern computational transactions involving non-monetary items without involving money at all, and still have the benefit of modern data processing methods to give accurate and honest price discovery. Families can rely on high bandwidth communications to maintain balance and equity among family members. But the very nature of networks ensures that this feature of small organizations will not scale to larger networks. There is one possible way of connecting between two people. A and B can connect, and that's it. When you have three people, A and B can connect, A and C can connect, and B and C can connect. The number of possible connections increases much more rapidly than the number of people in the network. If you're going to be conversing with a lot of people, then you can't spend a lot of time with each person, or devote a lot of your resources to each person. The larger the network, the more of a problem this becomes. That's one reason why organizations that are too big to fail almost always eventually fail. As our society has been creating larger and larger networked entities like corporations, governments, churches, and the like, our society has become less and less efficient. We need different means of economic communication for different sizes of organizations. Families don't need formal control structures at all, and they are probably better off without. But because of network scaling issues, larger networks need more protections against fraud. As the networks get larger, there will be more reliance on passwords, encryption, arbitration mechanisms, and the like. And the ability to provide broadband connections to all members of the network will be restricted. The members of large networks will not trust each other as much as the members of smaller networks, and with good reason. A fairly small network should be able to operate entirely without encryption, or with only light encryption. Breaches of trust can be detected best in a family network, but detecting malfeasance in a slightly larger group composed of members of several different families should be easy enough without heavy-handed formal control mechanisms, as long as the number of the people of the network is kept reasonably small. These small networks could be used to establish local prices and record transactions with a minimum of formal security measures. It would be possible to record the statistics of transactions and keep that data for a long time, while keeping details of all the transactions for a much shorter time. The combinatorial explosion can easily overwhelm data storage and analysis. Bitcoin transactions now take an hour on average, and we can expect to see that time increase as long as the Bitcoin network continues to store all the details of every Bitcoin transaction forever. Having a permanent record of all transactions is a tax collector's wet dream, but it's a data processing nightmare. In the future, we'll probably be much more selective about the data we save. To effectively explore new methods of social cooperation using modern data collection, processing, and analysis, we need to overcome regulatory hurdles set up by the authoritarian states of America and the rulers of the world. We need to just say no to authoritarian trickery. We need to say no to taxation, incarceration, regulation, education, and war. We need to say no to armed robbery, kidnapping, harassment, propaganda, and mass murder, especially when these crimes are committed by the state. We need to say yes to the new opportunities for growth and prosperity that have been brought about by advances in technology. Freedom works. Slavery sucks.